I asked you about the Hall of Fame, and I asked you about Jay Wright, obviously, but I want to mention it again, Kobe Bryant, and you covered that team 2000, 2001, the finals. When you think back to that series and you think about Kobe Bryant, what's the first thing that jumps out to you about covering that series 20 years ago?
I guess it was after game 2, I want to say, where the Sixers won game 1 in overtime and almost won game 2 out in LA. And Iverson and Kobe were jawing, like, coming off the court. I think it was kind of like, I think Iverson was kind of saying, look, you're coming to Philly now. And I think Kobe was like, Philly doesn't scare us. You know, I don't know if he said we're going to win 3 in a row like the Lakers did, but I think it was kind of like, you know, that's not a problem for us. We won the title last year. We're going to win the title this year. We're going to win the title next year. Yeah, just complete fearlessness and wanting to be like the alpha guy, the guy, you know, give me the ball and I don't care who's open. You can double or triple me. I'm going to take it, you know, and live with it, whether you make it or you miss it. And, you know, he always was willing to take it. And there's a lot of guys that shrink from that spot, and he never did.
Do you have a look, it's a first round matchup no matter what happens after the play-in game there, or the play-in tournament, I should say. You're going to face an 8 seed anyway. But yes. Do you have a preference when you go to the Hornets, Pacers, Wizards, or Celtics?
Not really. I mean, the Celtics, you know, for a while you were kind of like, are they going to get their act together? But I think they're just so far gone. And with Jaylen Brown hurt, I just don't think that team is, you know, formidable. Washington's interesting. You know, I think Washington could be an interesting team. I mean, certainly a team the Sixers should beat, but it could be a fun series. Bradley Beal, if you remember, he put up 60 here. You know, and that's a team that came on and played pretty good hoops. The Hornets, I don't think any of those teams, you know, you shouldn't be. I mean, they could win a game, you know, it could make it interesting, could be competitive other games. But I don't think there's anyone, you know, like if Miami had somehow slipped into that mix or whatever, I would say, you know, even still, you know, I don't want that team. And the Sixers can say what they want, but that's not a team that, you know, going to the finals this year, having the core back, having a really good coach in Spoelstra. You know, after Thursday night, I thought, boy, there's a pretty good chance they're going to be 4 or 5, and they're going to win, whether they play the Hawks or the Knicks in that first round. And then it's going to be a best of 7 with the Sixers, and it's going to be really interesting with Butler and, you know, Adebayo and all the bench. But it did not happen. So as I said, it's fallen right for the Sixers, and, you know, everything seems to be in line, in place, you know, for them to make the conference. And that's the other thing. I've covered the team for 33 years. I've only covered one team that's made it past the second round. No other team.
Yeah.
All those, all those Barkley teams lost in the second round to Jordan or whoever.
Wow.
You know, they lost to the Celtics a few years ago in the second round. The Raptors, obviously, 2 years ago. And only the 01 team made the finals. And ironically, I was invited to a wedding, my wife and I, in Oakland, California, in 2001. It is the only Memorial Day weekend in 33 years in the earth, well, 32, let's say, not count, that I couldn't have made it, and I didn't make it that year. Like, what are the odds? I think it was just taunting me to invite me. You know, like, it ensured that they were going to go to the conference finals that year, and then the finals.
Does the missus still hanging over your head? Like, we could have gone to that wedding.
It was a buddy of a former coworker of mine. It would have been fun to go, but, like, you know, just one of those things you kind of kept updating. Like, all right, they beat the Pacers. Now they beat the Raptors. Now we're in the conference finals. Now it looks like, you know, and sure enough, we didn't get to go.
Send a nice gift. There's all you can do.